Welcome everyone to Quickbooks online tutorials. My name is Fula Kamara and I am the founder of F Kamara CPA. I am a CPA and a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. This series is your one-stop shop for mastering QuickBooks Online, a powerful tool that will simplify and streamline your business financial management. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced business owner, we have got something for everyone. From setting your account to tracking income and expenses to creating detailed financial report, we have got it all covered. Our videos are packed with practical tips and step-by-step instructions. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you will never miss a video. Without further ado, let's get started. Welcome back. So today we're going to look at chapter 2, which is the onboarding client into QuickBooks. So clients are able to set up their own QuickBooks online, but they might not possess the necessary skills and experience to do it correctly, which could lead to issues later on. That's why, as their pro advisor, it is your responsibility to set them up correctly, and the steps you need to take will depend on whether the client is already using QuickBooks Online or if the client is new to QuickBooks. If the client is new to QuickBooks Online, you will have to set them up from scratch. Some clients are already using QuickBooks Online but have switched from another bookkeeping firm to you. In such cases, you will have to review their existing QuickBooks Online setup to establish its health and understand their overall business. That's what brings us to the client onboarding template. Client onboarding template is a pre-formatted tool that guides you through the onboarding process when integrating a client into your firm. So to access the client onboarding template, you go to your QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor account. So if you are new to this channel, if you haven't seen chapter 1 of this tutorial, I advise you check out chapter 1 to know how to set up or sign up for the Pro Advisor, that is the QuickBooks Accountant program. So you can go to this website, that is the QuickBooks Online Accountant website. There you sign up. So we have different versions of QuickBooks. The one we're looking at, this is the Pro Advisor account. So I have created this just for training purpose. So this is the Pro Advisor account. Then if you want to see, there is also the test drive, which is a sample company. So this is where we will be doing most of the practice, like if we're entering transactions, because you won't be able to save any changes to this one. So this is mostly for practice. This is like a client, but this is for QuickBooks Plus version. So but to access the client onboarding template, we have to go to the QuickBooks Pro Advisor account. So you see, this is the QuickBooks Pro Advisor. So once you log into the QuickBooks Pro Advisor account, you can see you have the client. This is where you set up a client, a new client. You can click add client, but yeah, we're going to discuss all this. And then you have your team. This is where you add users. Like if you have a team, let's say if you have like other employees who are working for your firm, you can add user from here. So and then we have also the Pro Advisor, which is this tab. So this Pro Advisor, you have the Pro Advisor benefit, and then you have the Pro Advisor training. So here you have the personalized part, that is where you can set up your personalized part on the different trainings. And then for certification hub, this is where you take the exam. So you have you can select the self-paced, and then you have to set up the training part first to get started, and then you have the certification prep, which is the sample test that you will take to see how well prepared are you. And then you can see the different certifications. So you have the QuickBooks Online Advanced, and then the QuickBook Online Payroll. So the QuickBook Online Advanced Certification is the next step. That is after you've got the QuickBooks Online certification, and then you can unlock the QuickBooks Online Advanced Certification, and then also the QuickBooks Payroll. I already got the QuickBooks Online. I'm a pro advisor, so this is a different account. This is a training account. It's just the reason why I don't use my pro advisor account, because I have other details linked to that account that I don't want to make public. So that's the reason why I create this training. So you can create as many accounts as you can. So yeah, so this is the pro advisor account. So on the pro advisor account, there you have the work. So on the work, this is where you access the client onboarding template. So you can see you have the client onboarding template here. So if you wanna let me create a new project. So to create the client onboarding template, you can navigate to this, which is the work. You can go to the work tab, and then once you're there, you can click new project. So once you click create project, so you can, once you are there, you can click create project. So you can select from a template. So if you want to select from a template, you can select client onboarding template. So these are the best practices. So you see, it provides all the steps involved in onboarding a new client into QuickBooks. So we can call these testing version 2. Okay, so for which is it, for my firm or for a client? So I will select for my firm, because this template is just like a to-do list that will have a list of the tasks that I need to accomplish. So you can either select repeat, that is if you want to repeat this process, that is you can repeat, you can click repeat. So you can add details you can add like detailed note to remind yourself. I would say this is just a test. And then for the task, you can see you have meeting with new client and sign contract. So when are you gonna meet with the client to sign the contract? That is to provide an engagement letter, because you have to issue an engagement letter to the client which explain the terms of the engagement, that is the services that you will be providing. So that way, that will prevent a misunderstanding, along the way. So you have to explain, you have to let the client sign the contract or the engagement first before you can get started on working on anything. So you gather the client detail. So you can, when you click on any of these tiles, you can either add or remove. So you see there is an option to remove this step if you don't like it. Yeah, so you can collapse. So now I've collapsed that as well. So you can change this date so to whatever date you prefer. When do you plan this to be due? You can change it. So maybe so this is due today, so you can change it to another date, but for some reason it won't let me change. So it's like this is driven by this first date. So if I say the first date here is the 7th, so QuickBooks is assuming we're going to do all these processes, this step today in one day. Okay, that's what the software is kind of like suggest. So after you've gather the information, and then so to gather information or data from the client about the client, we use what is called the new client checklist, which we're also going to look into shortly. So we use that to complete the client profile and then to gather information that will help us set up the client in QuickBooks. And then we have create the new QuickBooks Online subscription. So once we've gathered data using the new client checklist, then we can create the QuickBooks Online subscription. And then we also can set up client company information, and then we import list. That is if the client has an existing list of customers. If the client is new to QuickBooks, but they may have been doing business and they may have been using other sort of like bookkeeping tools, maybe Excel or any other tool, or maybe QuickBooks Desktop, the desktop version. So in that case, we might want to import a list of customers or list of product, list of vendors, so that it will save us from typing a lot of information. So, and then payroll setup. That is if the client has like a QuickBooks payroll, so we need to set them up as well. Mind you, payroll is covered in a separate program. We don't cover it for this QuickBooks Online tutorial because the QuickBooks Online has different certification. You have the payroll certification, then you have the QuickBooks Online, which is like the intermediate, and then you have the advanced, which is also a different certification. So you can customize the sales template as well, connect apps, because we also have like apps. If you look here, you can see there are apps as well. Okay, it won't let me, but you can see apps here. So you can there are apps that integrate well with QuickBooks Online, so you can connect some of those apps based on the client's needs. So then we also have connect QuickBooks payment. So there is also option to connect the QuickBooks payment, because QuickBooks has like a payment option, which is a default payment option, wherein you are able to request payment from credit cards and other method of payment like bank transfer, so you can receive payments from customer based on. And then we also have train your new clients, then connect bank feeds, so you can also connect the bank. So you go to the banking center where we have a whole entire videos. We have an entire video dedicated to just banking, so how to connect and troubleshoot the bank feed, troubleshoot connection, then set up repeating project, so we can do that as well. So once you're done, you click save, and then so once you save, you can see the tasks here. These are the tasks that you've saved. So yeah, so if you can put it as a to-do or in progress, or cancel, so you can change the status. Whatever task, you can change the status, whether it is in progress, or this is a good tool for you to organize yourself in such a way you won't miss anything, you won't miss any step along the way. So yeah, that was the client onboarding template. So when onboarding client, so now we are going to look at onboarding a client. Okay, so onboarding clients who are new to QuickBooks Online. So if you have a client that is new to QuickBooks Online, meet the client and gather information. So just like I mentioned, once the client has signed the contract and agree on payment agreement, you can provide a detailed onboarding plan and introduce the client to the team. So let's say you have a team of individuals, maybe 5 employees. You have to introduce the new client to the team, and then you can use the new client checklist, which I've added the link to the description below, so you can access the new client checklist through the link that I've added to the description. So that's the tool that will help you to gather information. Okay, that is a good tool to help you with onboarding clients. So let me just show you how that tool looks like. So you can access the checklist by going to this website. So if you click on the link that I've added to the description, it should take you to this client checklist. So once you download it, so sometimes it take a while to open. So yeah, this is the new client checklist. So this is the checklist. On the client checklist, you have the profile. This is where you fill all the client profile information. So you can see there is a company name, the legal name, and then the industry. So yeah, you can read through all these details. So this is the tab for the client profile, and then the need assessment. This is where you assess the client's need. You want to know which subscription is best for the client. So first you have to know, because some of the subscription, not all features are available in all the subscriptions. So you have some subscription levels are available in the QuickBooks Plus, and then some you have them in the Advanced, and then some in terms of the users, like for example the QuickBooks Plus has 5 users maximum, and then the Essential has like 3 users, and then for the simple start has only one user, and then the self-employed has only one. So the simple start is mostly suitable for self-employed employees. Self-employed individuals who doesn't track inventory. So that's the kind of subscription. But yeah, we will go into detail on all those requirements. So you can see there, here is the features. So once you've answered to the questions here, then if you go to the next tab, you should see your responses will also carry over to these other tabs. You can see my response is yes to estimate. So meaning you can use estimate is available in both the QuickBooks Simple Start, but there is no option for self-employed. There is no accounting estimate. They cannot make any estimate. Like for example, the customer might ask, how much is the cost of XYZ? If I need like a design of my roof, how much is the cost? So with that, you have to prepare an estimate and send it to the client. So based on that estimate, you will be able to generate a purchase order to buy the items that you need to prepare, to do the client work. So some of the subscription, the estimate is not available, like for the self-employed, whereas for the simple start, you can access the estimate here. There is simple start, anyone with the X, it means it has the estimate. So if it is not, if it is blank, it means it doesn't have any. So that's how you so once you've added the responses, then you can also determine if the client is going to track mileage. You can also add that as well. So if the client is going to track mileage, you need the vehicle to set them up. You need the vehicle make and model, and then the year, and then the ownership status, and then you also need to add the purchase dates, the cost of the vehicle, and then also the date when the vehicle was placed in service. Then we want to know like the odometer, that is the mileage, that is the total number of mileage that the vehicle already had. So you need to know all of that. And then so you also have this other tab, which is further questions. These are just additional questions. Then you have the QuickBooks Self-Employed. If the client is a QuickBooks Self-Employed, you have to ask these additional questions as well. So for you to be able to recommend the best QuickBooks Online solution, so you can use the QuickBooks Online. You can use this new client checklist to determine which of the solution is best for the client. So once you've added all the responses, so once you've completed you've got the client's profile, so you can go back to so now our next step is to sign up the client. Okay, so we can sign up the client. Okay, so we need to sign up the client now. So we say, so we need to sign up the client to QuickBooks Online. So once you've identified the appropriate QuickBooks Online solution, you can sign them up. To do this, navigate to the client. So in order for you to sign up, we can navigate to the client, and then you can either select a business. Who is your client? Is the client a business? We can say business name, let's say the email, let's say we wanted to we can add the email and then the phone number. You can add the phone number. If you need to add more info, you can select this. So you can add the client's first name, let's say John, and then so for the phone number, okay, let's say the website we have. So yeah, this is the additional information. So then you can customize the client's homepage and the sales template by adding the client's logo. So once you've selected the right subscription level, because I don't have, we're not going to use any clients here right now because I don't want to subscribe. Mind you, you also have so if someone subscribe, let's say if you add a client and then to QuickBooks, you add them as your client, and then they can get, if you set them as your Pro Advisor discount, they can get a 30% off. Let's say if this is 140, 30% off will be the discount, so they can get a 30% discount from that. Okay, so this is the actual price. Let's say the 200 is the price, but if they have the 30% off, this is what they will be paying, the 140. But if like for example, if they select to get the direct discount, they can get still the 30% off on the advanced subscription, and on the plus they can also get 30% off for the first 12 months. So after that 12 month, then it will go back to the 200 for the advanced, and then it will go to the 90 for the plus, and then for the essential it will go to the 60. So this is something that I'll cover in detail. So we can customize the client and then add the logo, and then we can also add QuickBooks time and payroll. As you can see, you have the option here to add the QuickBooks. Select the QuickBooks payroll, whether the elite or the premium or the core. So you can, once you're done, and then you can click save. So for now we're not doing because we are not adding any client, so we can just close out of this. Yeah, so mind you, we are using the Pro Advisor account. See, the views are different. You can see your book, and then you have the overview, the dashboard, etc., etc., and then also you have the client, whereas the QuickBook Plus version, it doesn't have that. You see, this is the QuickBook Plus version, which is the client file. So here you don't see any option for client or Pro Advisor training, but you do have the option to switch between the accountant view and also the business view. So we are in the accountant view of the QuickBooks Plus subscription. So this is a great way to test drive. Like, let's say you want to set up a client, but the client might want to look at the functionality of QuickBooks. You can let them do a free trial on this, like a quick test drive to see how QuickBooks works. So yeah, let's go back to the training. So you can either add payroll, and then from there you can configure and customize the product. Since no two clients are the same, you will need to customize each client product by adding custom payroll setup and sales forms template. Also review their current vendor or customer list to determine if you can utilize existing data for import into QuickBooks Online. So you see, once you've added the client, you can customize their template. Okay, so you see here you can customize how the templates appear. Okay, so you see, like the invoices, you can change the templates, the content. So let's say if I want to change the template here, you can change it. So then you can add a logo here to make it to personalize this company file, so that when they send an invoice, their customers will see that this is coming from XYZ company. So yeah, that's why you need to customize their template. If you have not, you can watch chapter 1 of my video. I've covered some of these, but it's something that we'll also look into once we progress with the recording. Then you can also provide training and mentoring, right? So once you have completed, once you've configured, so let's look at what we need to do first. So you need to configure, and then so this is the first one. We need to configure the client. We need to configure the client's company, and then 2, we need to provide. So we need to provide training and mentoring. That is, we need to help the client with training. If the client has like accounting employees who will be, or let's say if the client needs some help with training, how this works, we need to be able to provide that kind of training, you know. And then so for clients that are using other bookkeeping tools, for clients using such as Excel or QuickBooks Desktop, we need to import or migrate the data into QuickBooks Online. So then also we talk about like gaining new clients already using QuickBooks. So if you are gaining new clients who are already using QuickBooks Online, in that case, if the client is already using QuickBooks Online, they will just need to invite you as their accountant. So how will the client invite you? So let's go to the client version. So this one, which is the test drive, the one that I told you about. So if the client go to accountant, my accountant, this is where the client will invite you. Let's say your email is fcamaracpa, right? Let's say your email is info at, so the client will click invite, and then you will receive an email. So once the client invites you, you will receive that email, and then you will accept the invitation. Then you will have access to their QuickBooks. So that's how the client will invite you to their book. So click done. So yeah, and then use the client overview screen to get a snapshot of the client book. This screen can be found in the accountant view. So to access the client overview screen, you click client and then you go to overview. So this is where you see the client. You can see the number of connected apps. So you can see all the list of clients that you are currently, whose books you are currently able to access. So you can see a list of clients that you have access to their book when you click client. So this is the Pro Advisor version of QuickBooks. So you have access to look at the client. So you can see if here, this is where you add client, and then once you add them, they will be in your client list. So this will be your list. So here you can select the client also. Once you've added them, you can jump into them. You can see this is the toolkit that you cannot find in the other subscription, like the QuickBooks Plus, the Essential, the Advanced. You won't find this accountant toolkit. This is only available to the Pro Advisor. So here you can jump to a chart of account, journal entries, reconcile, report, voided or deleted transactions, which is also the audit log. So then close book. Then you can open a new window. Let's say you want to open a new window, you can do that as well. So from this, and then Pro Connect Tax Online. So that Pro Connect is a tax software, a QuickBooks software. The Pro Connect is a tax software which is used by Intuit. Then you can reclassify transactions with some limitations, and then report options, write off invoices, prep for taxes. So this is where you can do that as well. So then you have the client overview, and then you have the bookkeeping. So once you get your clients into QuickBooks, you can access their payroll and then bookkeeping and then the client overview. But the reason why right now you won't see information, because there are a lot of summary that I'll be discussing in detail when we get to that chapter. So all these tabs will be explaining what kind of information you will be able to get from there. And then the company setup. So just like I said previously, so now we have company setup. So we have the company setup, and then also we can look at the banking activities. So the company setup provides information about the complexity of the client's QuickBooks Online. So like I said, you can see the number of apps. So let's take an overview of, so the client overview. Let's look at the Pro Advisor overview. Let's say my book, but this is the training file. This is not my Pro Advisor account, because that's why you don't see anything here. But so this is the training file. So you can see when you open this, you have the option to connect a bank, right? You can see here the company setup. So on the company setup, you can see that we have 0. So if the client had like a bunch of apps connected to their QuickBooks Online, you can see here they will show the number of apps. And then for the subscription here, you can see advanced, right? So we have access to the advanced. As a Pro Advisor, we have access to the advanced. And then we also have the payroll, which is the payroll early. And then we also have the sales tax, which is not yet enabled. Okay, so yes, so you have that option. And then so for the banking activity section, displays the cash on hand and then the checking. So if we go to, let me use the client version. So if I go to banking, we can see that we have you can see on the banking aspect, you can see the connected accounts here, right? You can see the account that are linked to the bank, that are linked to QuickBooks Online. So you can see there is a checking and there is also a savings account. Okay, so but the one that we're talking about, like when you bring a client into QuickBooks, the one that I'm talking about, you can see, like for example, under this section of this, okay, when you bring this client into QuickBooks, you can access their books just like I'm doing now. This is my own book. So this is the Pro Advisor account books. You can see here they say your book. So you have the overview. So if it is the client's book, you can see the banking activity. So under the banking activity, you can see the bank balance, which is derived from the banking center, shows the last reported balance, the in QuickBooks balance as well. Just like I discussed in chapter 1, the chart of account, it shows you the in QuickBooks balance and also the balance as per bank. So, and which could include feature date transactions. So that's why most of the time you will see that the balance per book does not agree with the balance as per the bank because of timing. So because you might have transactions which are not reconciled yet, so you have some reconciled and unreconciled transactions through. So because of that, the numbers will not be the same. That's why you perform on a monthly basis. You do your bank reconciliation, and then for unreconciled and reconciled through columns, provide detail about the account reconciliation status. So if you look at the column, for once you click on the banking activity, it's just that this is not connected. So if this was connected, you can see the reconcile and unreconciled columns. Also, that will show you information about the client's reconciliation. When was the last time they did reconciliation of their book? So reconciled totals indicates the number of unreconciled transactions and the date when the books were last reconciled. So that's we also have common issues. So we have common issues relating to QuickBooks. So whenever we deal with QuickBooks, so we have some common issues. Some clients are not accountants, so sometimes they don't know the double entry aspect of QuickBooks. Like as accountants, we already know for how to categorize some of the assets, the transactions in QuickBooks. So because the client might not know how to classify some account, you might have some issues because of that. If they classify the wrong account, the transaction to the wrong account, so that might lead to issues. So common issues, once you bring in the clients, there is a tab called the common issues. So in that common issue tab, it's just that, like I said, I don't have a client right now in this, but you will have a tab called common issues. So that common issue tab, like this one, that like you can see, you have what is called undeposited funds. So once you bring in a client, you can see common issues like undeposited funds. What are undeposited funds? Undeposited funds, these are funds that when we receive these funds, we have not yet taken them to the bank. We have them on us, but we still have not had the chance to deposit them into the bank. So that's the reason why we call them undeposited. And then we also have uncategorized assets. That is, we have assets that we buy, but we have not categorized them to the correct account. So this one, QuickBooks will move them into uncategorized. And then uncategorized income, also we have income that we have earned, but maybe we have not categorized it to the right income account in the profit and loss account. So then we also have expenses, also the same. Then on the aging side, the AR aging, which tells you the number of days the receivable has been outstanding. So the AR agent will tell you if there is a risk of bad debt. That is, there is a risk that the customers might not be paying their debt. Let's say if the AR, it all depends also on the company cycle, but the moment you started seeing some AR balance is greater than 90 days, that might be a signal of bad debt. But it also depends on the company cycle. That is how what is their practice in their industry that the company operate, because some industry might have AR that are outstanding for longer period, but that is not a bad debt. So, and maybe the risk of bad debt is really small. Then also AP aging. When you look at the AP aging, you can see that there is a possibility. If you see the AP aging will help you. So we have a report that will be discussing as well in a different chapter about the report that we can generate to get this AP aging and the AR aging. So the AP aging will tell us the payments that are coming due. Okay, so that will tell us that. Then we have the opening equity balance. Also, this will most of the time will have like a zero balance. And then negative assets and liability. How do you get like a negative asset? Sometimes, let's say we have an AR, account receivable, which is a debit, which is a positive balance, and then the AR, I mean the customer decide to pay something maybe in advance, so that is a liability. Like if there is a credit in the customer balance, it becomes a liability. In that case, we need to classify it as a liability instead of an asset. Also, sometimes the materiality of that account might determine whether we can leave it as is or maybe we need to reclassify that. But all AP accounts payable should have credit balances. So if we have like a debit balance in the account payable, meaning we need to reclassify that. That will only happen when we have like maybe the vendor gives us a credit. Like if we buy something, maybe it was going to be like 24,000, then maybe we pay the 24,000, but because of we return some of the items, and then they decide to refund us, I mean like, or give us a credit for that difference. Maybe we pay 24 and then the vendor, we only receive 20,000 worth of goods, and then the vendor gives us a credit for the remaining items. So that will lead a debit balance. So because they were our vendors, they have a credit balance. So now that they owe us, they become our debtor. So that's the reason why it will have a debit balance. So in that case, we need to reclassify that account if it is a long-term something. If it is maybe just few days, it doesn't matter, but we can reclassify it if it is going to be there maybe for more than a month, and then maybe we have to close the book before that. So that's the reason. So, and then we can see adding deposits without designating an income account can result in uncategorized income account. So just like, so then it's the same thing for expense as well. So when we add expenses from the banking center, so because if we say we connect our account to QuickBooks Online, so the banking center, we can connect accounts here. So if we connect our account, then it will pull data from the banking center. Some banks will provide data for up to 90 days of transactions, so we'll be able to access up to 90 days of our banking transactions. So if it pull that data, okay, so that might lead to uncategorized expense. So because if we provide, except where we put like rules, because we also have a whole chapter on rules, how to set rules. So we can set rules here in the banking center that will put automatically credit or debit account that we've identified or we've selected in our rules. So we can instruct the QuickBooks Online that based on specific criteria, for every transaction that meets this specific rule, then do XYZ. So we have a whole chapter dedicated to that. So then we also have the tag. So the equity opening balance. So the opening balance equity account should always be zero. So just like I said earlier, this account should always be zero. So the opening equity account balance should always be zero. If you see a balance in this account, it's most likely because an amount was entered in the opening balance field during the creation of a new vendor, customer, or maybe a balance sheet account or inventory. So if we see a a balance in this account is because we've created a new customer or vendor or inventory item. Then in terms of the negative assets and liability, so this have the contrary account. Then also the transaction volume. The transaction volume, it talks about this section group the number of transactions for the last 30 days. The date range can be changed to view transaction for period longer than 30 days. So that's the end of chapter 2. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any video. See you in the next video. Thank you.